Welcome to our this new program, Your Vote, Your Choice. So the motive of this show is to introduce you to various candidates from various parties whom you are going to vote in the next federal election on October 21st. But before voting for them, you must know who they are. That's the motive behind this show. So today our special guest is Ramona Singh, Conservative Party candidate from Brampton East. Ramona, welcome to this show.
Well, thank you for having me on your show. It's so exciting to be here, and I always follow all your shows and your talk shows and your journalism, so I'm very excited to be your guest.
Okay, so before we talk about politics, we want to know who Ramona Singh is.
Yes.
So tell us more about yourself.
Yes, Ramona Singh is a female that migrated to Canada when she was 8 years old, and I'm now talking about myself in third person.
Yeah.
And I come from a mixed background. My father is Indian, my mother is Iranian, and growing up in a very diverse household when it comes to language.
Where from you came? You came from Middle East?
I was born in Tehran, Iran.
Tehran, okay.
Yes, and fortunate enough to live both in Delhi as well as Tehran, and migrated to Canada during actually the Gulf War, so in '91, and I still have memories of, you know, during the wartime and seeing bomb shelter and mass evacuation out of Tehran, which was very significant at the time. I was very young, and it was just my older sister and my parents, and you know, I didn't realize until I got here as an adult that was a mass evacuation. You felt like you're going camping because you're driving in a car and you're pulling over overnight because the northern part of the country was safer.
Which city you were in Tehran?
In Tehran.
Oh, you were right in Tehran.
Right in Tehran, and so the evacuation was to go to the northern part of the country, which
during Iran-Iraq war.
Iran-Iraq war. So that was very, you know.
Okay. So your father came from India and he was working over there?
Yes, so he came, so my mother, it's actually, the love story is my mother loved like Hindi films, Bollywood, you know, like Sangam in the, you know, back in the time.
Okay.
And of course, Bollywood was very famous, not only in the Middle East, but everywhere else.
Yeah.
And so she grew up loving the culture, fully understands Hindi, Punjabi.
I heard Raj Kapoor was very popular in
Yes,
Iran.
Raj Kapoor, very popular. Anil Kapoor, the whole Kapoor family, very popular.
Okay.
Of course, how can anybody say about Amitabh Bachchan?
Amitabh
Very
Bachchan.
popular as
Okay.
well. And so it was like a love story. They met, and he stood in the rain, and you know, he wouldn't eat without her. It was just, you know, so that was.
What
really
your father was doing in Tehran?
So when he finished school in Delhi, he moved there. For at the time it was the 70s, so it was right before the revolution, and the economy was booming. And my family's always been in import export, like trade as well as small business. So that's so I come from a generation of like entrepreneurs.
So during that time, you were going to India back and forth?
Yes, because the whole family lives there on my father's side. So I spent a few years there. Of course, in Delhi. Yeah, spent my summers there as a child, and you know, have very good memories of the two. So my first languages they sent me to a private school. So it was my first languages were English, Hindi, Punjabi, and then they started with Farsi.
Do you speak some words of Punjabi?
Some words. I understand more because when I
understand.
I can understand.
Okay, that's good.
And also Hindi actually a little bit more.
Okay.
Because I used to watch Bollywood films every night with my family.
Okay.
So, but moving here to Canada, then they started teaching me French, and so it was just a little
both
too
your
much.
Parents came? Both of them migrated here?
So my mother came first. with the kids,
yeah.
And then my father migrated after we settled down a bit. So it was very hard few years. So I understand, you know, when I talk to the constituents here in Brampton East about the changes that they're going through, the vision they had of Canada, being able to, you know, come and get a good job and have a good, decent living. But everybody pretty much ends up starting from scratch and, you know, leaving everything behind, and for the sake of their children's education or the future and all of that
stuff. So
you
study here in Toronto?
Yes, all my education has been here, formal education. I wanted to be a police officer. So yes, great. So growing up, so I went to Seneca College for Police Foundations. I I realized I love law. I don't want to enforce law. And so I went to Carleton University in Ottawa, got a bachelor's in criminology, criminal justice with a concentration in law. I was very fortunate to end up working at Correctional Service of Canada in Ottawa as a federal government employee. So those were great because it was everything I was studying, and then I was able to be right in the environment of it. So I understand, what government has to go through from like a very bureaucratic perspective, and how they're supposed to manage the ministries and all of that. And then I came
from criminology to politics.
From criminology to politics. Well, my first election was when I was 10 years old, though. I was in grade 6. I ran for class president. I lost. Then in grade 8, I ran for school president, and I won. And I promised the kids gum day. I promised them. I listened to my constituents at the time, which were my classmates from grade 3 to grade 8, and I listened to what they wanted and delivered a speech that they were surely to vote for.
So leadership skills were from a childhood. Eh?
It was something that I always did. Then I ran in grade 9 again, and in grade 11 and 12. So it was consistently all throughout.
So when did you fully, started working in politics?
So what I did was when I came back from Ottawa, I worked in the family business. At the time, it was manufacturing, wholesale, and retail. I managed a small business operation with the retail stores, and then I was bravely said to my parents, I want to get international corporate experience. I had gotten a job in London, England, in telecommunications, and they were very upset with me having to go, but I was very determined. I think I've always been very determined, and so I left, and I accepted a job with very minimum pay, but the whole goal was I wanted to experience what the international business would be like.
How long you were there?
I was there for 8 years.
8 years?
I worked in,
Sometimes I'm really surprised and wondering that till now you have done so many things in your lifespan.
Yes, I have.
So got so much experience.
But there's always an opportunity cost. I don't have a family. Like I didn't get married. I don't have children. So there's always an opportunity cost for everything that you do.
Any reason to not get married till now?
No reason. I'd like to. I'd really like to. Hopefully after the election I could settle down. It's just the right time, the right person, the right opportunity didn't come up.
Still waiting for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe in that.
Till then enough time to serve the people. Eh?
I believe in that. I think it's a lifelong commitment. I think the person has to want to sign up for what I'm doing and have to want to sign up for what they're doing, and the path I've chosen is not very easy. So I fully accept that.
So your family is supporting you while now you are in full-time in politics?
My family is supportive. I am in full-time in politics. So coming back, when you said when politics, how did I get involved? Coming back to Canada, I realized, hey, this is what I want to do. I started getting involved in municipal, provincial, federal elections, and I ended up becoming a vendor for actually Doug Ford's leadership for all the telecommunications needs, for like polling, for calling, for literally everything, and we were able to be successful in the leadership there. And then, of course, I worked for the PC.
So you were deep in provincial politics, but you chose to come to federal politics.
Yes, I mean, I on the last election, I worked for Bob Soria's campaign, who is an MP in Markham, Unionville, and his campaign was the only one in the York region of the 905s that was in a Liberal-held riding for 20 years, provincially and federally, but yet went against the wave and turned it into
That
conservative.
was surprising to everybody.
Yes, it was, and the secrets I learned on that campaign, I'm applying to my own campaign here in Brampton East.
Okay, so that's helping you.
All that experience adds, yes.
Yeah. So you're working now with the people in Brampton East. You are going door to door.
Yeah.
You are chosen by the party way behind many months ago when people were not even settling down. Other riding, they were just trying to get a candidate for their parties, but you were appointed by the Conservative Party in Brampton East right at that time. Do you think that you have an edge because of that? The time you could get because of that to understand the riding people is helping you?
Absolutely. I think what it did was it gave me a chance to go on a listening tour. And just talking to constituents, being in their homes, celebrating birthdays or anniversaries, or just going to their dinner table and being able to listen to what their concerns are, what their vision for Brampton is, because more people have solutions for what the problems are than not. And that's what I think politics should be. I think elected officials should listen to the people to know what the issue is, not come up with their own solutions, and to see what that ground is. And that gave me the advantage to meet people not in a election mode, but as friends, as to be able to build those relationship and bonds. And now I can tap into those feelings. So when I'm able to be on your show or any other time, I can actually remember their words and be able to articulate it.
So we are back after the break. We are talking to Ramona Singh, Conservative Party candidate from Brampton East, and she's telling us that she is from a mixed background culture. She is a daughter of Indian father and Iranian mother. She knows more about Bollywood. She knows about Indian food, much about Indian culture also, which we didn't know earlier. So Ramona is telling us now more about her journey into politics. Ramona, you are knocking at the doors. Brampton East riding is very mixed riding, very diverse. Yes. So you must be meeting people from all origins, all backgrounds. So what you are listening so far?
The consistent issues that come up are all around affordability. Whether their concerns are some provincial matter or municipal or federal, it's all about how am I going to get ahead. I'm having a hard time paying, whether it's the property tax or whether it's the car insurance or whether it's the jobs, affordability.
But they're more or less local issues.
Very local issues,
municipal or federal.
But then there's the carbon tax as well, right? That's made things more expensive, and groceries, and that's added on cost to everything else. So they're saying, what is the government going to do? How are we going to get ahead? When is Brampton going to get its fair share of services? We pay all this taxes. My taxes go up year by year, and then their concerns shift to not only their children's future, but then it shifts to immigration immediately. What about all these other people that are coming into the country, and like the news that have erupted recently about international students working over the 20-hour limit, and them saying, well, our children haven't found jobs this summer. What does that mean? So their concerns are very multi-level, but also one thing that you realize is that they're very interdependent of each other. One policy change has changed another aspect of our society, and I think this is something that this federal government has not been able to see that well, that every decision they've made, it has affected other industries. Like, for example, with the stress test that was added for mortgages, now the private lending mortgage industry has erupted, right, from the traditional ones. So every time there is a crisis, there's an opportunity in a different industry that comes up. So these are the things that people have a lot of concerns about.
Okay, coming to immigration, there are two perceptions. One, we need more immigrants. Canada is successful because of immigrants. We know that. At the same time, when we have big influx of immigrants here, our economy or our housing affordability, there we have many problems. So how your party, or if Conservative Party comes to power, how they're going to keep it balanced? You must be talking to immigration critic of your party, leader of your party. Mm-hmm. So what kind of plan they have?
The plan that they have is to make sure that the process becomes fair, compassionate, and orderly, which means that people should know what to expect when coming to Canada, what kind of visas are available, and look at the job market. So essentially, no matter which party wins on October 21st, there's going to be 300,000 immigrants that come in year by year. Mm-hmm. So the conception that if Conservatives come into power, there'll be less immigration, that's not true at all. Mm-hmm. So the reality is, what the Conservatives are saying is let's look at what Canada needs, right? When it comes to matching skills to jobs, wherever there's a shortage, bring in the workforce that needs it. Where there's family reunification needs, when there's investor visa needs, and also prioritizing all the asylum seekers that come in from actual countries that are in war or genocide, and they do need to come in, not what we're seeing through the illegal border crossings from the United States, which is an exploitation of that loophole between the agreement of the United States and Canada. So this is where we're at. But when it comes to a full plan, the fully costed plan is going to come out this month. When the writ gets called and the campaign starts, that's when more of the detailed proposal will come to the forefront.
Okay. Any other major issues for the party during the next elections?
The major issues are, it comes very consistently as in affordability, because that's just what we're hearing all the time when you see the latest statistic that if any major incident happens in a household, like a leaky roof, any Canadian family is $200 away from being in a very bad situation. People are going month to month. When it comes to coming up with a plan that is reducing emissions, but not necessarily through a tax, a carbon tax. Of course, immigration is one of them. Creating jobs is another one, and the Conservative Party has always been better in terms of being able to have lower taxes, be better for the economy in a sense, to have less of a hardship to entry into market when it comes for businesses and hiring and creating more middle class.
Okay. Raj Grewal was very popular, member parliament we have in Brampton East, but now he is not contesting for the elections. We have new Liberal candidate now. Do you see any edge because of that, or doesn't matter to you whosoever is the candidate, or you think that you have brighter chances now because of that all the Liberal turmoil?
I think that when I go door to door, there's about 28,000 doors in Brampton East. People are upset about Justin Trudeau. No doubt there's support for change. But as somebody who's worked on elections and somebody who's very practical and very hands-on, support doesn't mean anything unless people come out to vote, right? So this could go any way. We won't know until I think the last few weeks of this election, and that's the truth. If anybody's thinking that they know now how this is going to happen, we won't until the debates start on the national TV with the leaders, as well as the local debates start, and really it's about the ground game. It's about find your supporters and get them to vote. Whichever candidate is able to do that, it's going to be the clear winner. But we also know something about Brampton East is that as traditionally we have most South Asian population, and India being the world's biggest democracy, 1.4 billion people, world's largest democracy, people understand if they want to get anything done, they must have an MP that's in government. So how Andrew Scheer polls, how Justin Trudeau polls, how they do well in the news is going to determine, I think, how the people of Brampton East will vote.
Okay.
As well.
Last question. Being a girl, and that to a single girl, going all out, working so hard, in this male-dominated society, I would say, what the challenges you have faced so far, and what is your message for the girls, who want to come up, who want to dare to put their name on the ballot?
Yeah.
They want to follow you, or you must be following some people. So what do you have to say on that?
My message is very clear. I think that if you decide to do anything in life, whether it's for elections or any other job, first understand why you're doing it. Your reason why is going to be the reason when you're crying or you're upset or everything gets very hard, you remind yourself what that reason is. If that reason's not good enough to, because you always have to give up something to gain something, right? This is a fact of life. And so your reason why has to be greater than any of those challenges. Of course, it is a male-dominated industry. There is a support network when it comes to male candidates, because it's just you have more males that have organized traditionally for politics. And of course, now I find that most women that I meet at the doors or in their homes or at events, and if some of them say, I don't know anything about politics, I say, you know what, actually, you know more about politics than you think. I say, because you have the purchase power in your house, right? You know how much a dollar buys today versus 6 months ago versus a year ago. You know what's happening with your child's education, the job market, your worries about the marijuana legalization, your worries about community safety, your worries about all these different things. I'm like, these are as a result of good policy or bad policy. So you're living politics day in, day out without realizing it. And I think those conversations help women break the boundaries and get more involved. And I'm actually very happy. I have a lot of young girls on the team that come join, and it's a safe environment for them. And any way I can help to mentor or to show anybody, be very honest about how I got here, what the challenges are, I'd be happy to do that. Because at the end of the day, I think it's through your struggles and your story that inspires maybe somebody else. So I'm willing to share that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
When you came to Brampton East, you were new to the constituents, your voters. You had worked hard. You have gone to meet people. so far, whatever journey you have covered till now, it looks that you have been able to connect yourself to the people in Brampton East. But end of the day, they have to decide whom they are going to vote on 21st of October. So our purpose in this show is to introduce the candidate to the voters, to the constituents. So Ramona Singh is ready to reach out to you. She has already been reaching out to you. So whenever she comes on your door, knock at your door, ask her whatever question you have in your mind, because end of the day, it's your right, because you are going to vote for them. So Ramona Singh is conservative candidate from Brampton East, looking for your vote on 21st of October, but it's your choice, your decision, your right. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.